Ayun, annyeonghaseyo. Annyeonghaseyo everyone. You're watching Learn with Eman, and for today's video, we're going to learn about conflict, negotiation, and collaboration. Nakalimutan ko na yung topic ko. Well, I'm recording this at 6:17 PM. So actually pagod na ako, tol. Gusto ko na munang matulog, kumain. But anyway, so much for the drama, and let's deep dive on conflict by design. But before that, just I want to greet you with a happy International Relaxation Day today. Today is August 15, 2026, and isang ano ba 'to, mapagpahingang araw, may gano'n ba? Parang wala naman po yatang pahinga para sa mga trentahin ano. But anyway, sabi sa ating weather station ngayon ano, parang naging pag-asa pa nga, bandang bandang hapon may manakanakang pag-ulan, kaya sa mga apektado diyan ng mga ng walang humpay, walang lubay na ulan at mga nabaha ano, isang pag-iingat po sa lahat ano. May mga heavy thunderstorms this Saturday afternoon. So, siyempre, hindi naman puro tayo mga parang nega, no? Kaya kailangan batiin din natin ang mga may birthday ngayong August 15, isang mabiyaya at maulahang birthday po sa inyong lahat. Kung sino man po yung may birthday na yan, ano, sana po makatikim po ako kahit ice cream lang in Double Dutch. Gusto ko nung kumain ng ice cream. Tsaka kung may paminudo po diyan, baka puwede namang makakuha ng menudo. Yung maraming patatas. Anyway, so ano po yung nakikita niyo sa screen? Kasi ang nakikita ko, bata. Batang babae na nakatakip ang mata. Sir, ano namang ibig sabihin niyan ngayon kung gano'n? Because right now, I want you to close your eyes. Come on, sige na. Close your eyes. Close mo na ang iyong mga mata. Ayan, very good. Because at this moment, I want you to imagine a university, a school na walang reklamo. Walang nagrereklamong faculty, walang nagrereklamong estudyante, walang tumututol sa mga policies, walang tumututol o maiingay sa mga meeting sa tanong ng tanong, walang dissent, walang conflict. Na-imagine niyo ba? What do you see now? Is it healthy? Healthy ba yon sa palagay niyo? Teka, wag sabay-sabay sasagot. Healthy ba yon? Parang si SpongeBob ano, nakikita niyo bang nung nai-imagine niyo, parang kumakain ba kayo ng popcorn ano, nakikita niyo na, ang ganda-ganda naman ng school na 'to. But you have to think further beyond that ano. Bakit bakit kaya parang gano'n yung naisip mo? Bakit bakit ganyan? Kasi sa akin ano, kung walang dissent, walang conflict, parang nakakatakot. Kasi baka hindi naman peace ang meron dun 'no, baka takot talaga, baka pagod na yung mga tao, baka sumuko na lang yung mga taong magsalita dahil feeling nila wala rin namang nakikinig ano. Sa educational leadership theories, madalas nating marinig, leaders create harmony, leaders resolve conflict, leaders bring people together. Yan, 'di ba? Ang ganda, no? Pero paano kung lahat sila mali? Paano kung ang trabaho pala ng isang leader ay hindi alisin yung conflict? Paano kung ang trabaho talaga ng isang leader, alagaan yung conflict, bigyan ng space para mag-grow ang lahat, 'di ba? Oh, so sabi nga ni Heraclitus more than 2,000 years ago, hanggang ngayon ganyan pa din, nakaganyan pa din siya, ano? Conflict is the father of all things. Naniniwala ba kayo do'n? Hindi violence, hindi war 'no, kundi yung tension. Yun yung gusto niyang i-point out dito. The encounter of opposites 'no, because it can produce change and it can produce something new. Ah, the point of conflict, kumbaga hindi dapat natin tinitingnan ito as automatically dysfunction ano. Kasi what if yung organizations na kinabibilangan natin intentionally designed, ako ang tawag ko productive tensions 'no, if there's such a term. Dine-design nila 'tong productive tensions na 'to into learning processes instead of treating every disagreement as something to eliminate, tanggalin agad 'no. Hindi dapat natin tinitingnan as automatic dysfunction, eh. Yun yung yun yung kuha natin dito. Kumbaga, ah, parang parang ito 'no, conflict resolution training daw sa isang school, cancel due to disagreement over opinion. Yan yung nagagawa ng tension ano, ah, parang walang kung walang banggaan ng ideas, walang bago. Kung walang resistance, paano magkakaroon ng mga innovation, mga gano'n 'no? Walang learning kung walang discomfort. Kaya daw kung tutuusin, kahit yung education itself is a conflict ano, bakit? Ah yung pag-aaral lang is pag-aaral natin banggaan ng dati mong alam sa bago mo ng alam, yung dissertation lang ano sa mga malapit na diyan matapos yung paper nila sa for the quantitative and the qualitative, courses na meron tayo. Ah, Ano ba 'yan, yung dissertation mo 'di ba banggaan niya ng literature at nung mga sarili mong arguments na pinaglalaban mo sa buhay ano, hindi ba yung banggaan ng arguments na nakita mo based on the findings na meron ka, 'di ba? So, yung leadership daw banggaan din ng iba't ibang pananaw kung ano ba talaga ang tama for an institution. Kasi kung isipin niyo ano, ano ba ang gusto ng estudyante? Pagka nagtanong ako sa estudyante sasabihin nila, bigyan niyo naman kami ng boses, bigyan niyo kami ng freedom, relevant din kami." O 'pag tinanong mo yung faculty, "Ano bang kailangan niyo?" Siyempre bukod po sa mataas na sahod sasabihin sa'yo ng ganyan. Hindi, but ideally gusto nila, dapat meron tayong academic integrity, may academic freedom ang lahat, autonomy, ganyan. Hindi dapat pinakikialaman yung kami sa gusto na mga gano'n ano yan. Administrators 'pag tinanong mo anong gusto nila, siyempre, dapat kayong mga empleyado efficient kayo, may efficiency tayo sa mga processes natin at the same time sustainability gusto niya 'no, dapat, ang financials natin, sustainable, gano'n. Ang parents, 'pag tinanong mo anong gusto nila, siyempre gusto nilang ma-secure yung kanilang lalo na ngayon ano, yung mga mga crisis ng mga gun violence sa mga schools o kahit na hindi nga gun violence, mga violence na lang na nagbubugbugan sa mga schools ngayon ano. Kumbaga gusto ng mga parents secured yung kanilang mga anak. At the same time, pinag-aaralan sa magandang paaralan because they believe that a good education is securing their future, employability, yun yung tinitingnan nila 'no. So, lahat ng 'yan meron silang goal, kahit nga gobyerno ang gusto niyan dapat mag-comply ka, compliance, comply, comply, comply. Parang, well hindi na ako magsalita, hindi naman ako taga public schools ano, but some parang yung sa mga nadidinig ko lang na kuwento 'no, comply, comply, comply. But we go beyond yung, the compliance, yung iba 'no. Yung sa industry anong gusto niyan? Skills, skills. Kaya nga, ngayon ang sinasabi nila yung, ah, ah, hindi mo na kailangan ng degree as long as you have the skills. May mga gano'n kaya iba sikat na sikat yung mga micro-credentialing, even yung mga short-term courses like the Tesla na ano mas in demand abroad instead of, the 4-year degree, university degree ano. Even church-owned schools, institutions, meron yung mga, ah, gusto na kumbaga pananaw. Ano yun, ang gusto nila formation of character, mga yan. Mali ba sila? No, lahat sila tama. Pero we have to recognize na lahat din sila kulang. Kulang yun. Bakit? Kasi ang gusto nating ipunto dito, conflict is everywhere. Lagi at lagi may banggaan ng ideas. Dun nagsisimula yung leadership. Hindi yung sa pagdedesisyon na kung sino ba ang tama sa mga 'to, kung hindi sa pagharap sa katotohanang maraming uri ng katotohanan ang sabay-sabay na naninirahan sa paaralan na kinabibilangan mo. 'No? Sabi nga dun sa stakeholder theory which was popularized by Edward Freeman in 1984, organizations are shaped by multiple stakeholders whose interests may be legitimate but may conflict, 'no? Kasi kung titingnan mo, yung stakeholder engagement daw ano, it can sound democratic even when stakeholders possess unequal power. Kaya ang kinakon nila, what if legitimacy were measured not only by who has the authority, but also by who is affected? Kumbaga, lahat naman naapektuhan eh. In human-centered design, kumbaga sa design thinking process, we start with empathy. Doon nagsisimula yung yung innovation eh. So, ang point natin dito, no, we will not delve into whether truth is absolute or relative, but the point is simpler. My point is, everybody has a share in creating institutional reality. And when we refuse to recognize that conflict, nagiging personal lahat. So, when we recognize it, yung conflict nagiging intellectual. Healthy conflict, hindi personal conflict. So, yun siya. Pagka ganun yung nangyari, definitely, tinanggap natin, conflict is everywhere. Dito na medyo nagiging uncomfortable. Kasi, papasok na yung negotiation. Ang negotiation, hindi lang siya pag-uusap, hindi lang din siya compromise, hindi lang siya win-win parang situation na kailangan pareho kayo, no? Kasi bago magsimula ang meeting ano, may simultaneously threatening na. Bago magsimula yung meeting kasi, sinasabi, "May nanalo na." Paano nanalo na? Eh, sino ba kasi gumawa ng agenda? Sino ba yung may microphone? Sino ba yung may final approval? Sino ba yung nagsusulat ng minutes? Sino ba yung absent? Kasi hindi mo lang inibitahan. Yun yung danger, no? Minsan hindi pala negotiation yung nangyayari. Minsan, ang nangyayari ay choreography. Meron ng script. Iniintay na lang yung palakpakan. Kaya minsan, eh, mas masarap na lang makipagbugbugan, eh. Kasi tulad niyan ano, regular negotiation management wasn't working, 'di magbugbugan na lang tayo. Ah, Sabi ni Deborah Kolb and Judith Williams, there is a concept that they call shadow negotiation. That's the behind the formal negotiation. There is behind the formal negotiation, there's another negotiation na nangyayari. At yun yung mas minsan ano, hindi pala minsan, madalas merong power 'no. The visible, meeting may only be the surface of the organizational decision making. Pero ang totoo nun yung behind the scenes 'no. Kumbaga yun yung most important negotiation na nangyayari. Kaya nga yung iba ang tinatanong nila, what if the most important negotiation happened before the meeting ever began? That's the danger part ano. Akala mo you're you're part of making history but actually history is already written. Oh, kaya kapag pinag-uusapan natin yung negotiation sa educational leadership na context ano, tanong natin, what's the power to define the problem? Bakit natin kailangang tanong? Kasi minsan ano, whoever defines the problem, most of the time, influences also the solution. Kaya kung sinabi natin The problem is faculty resistance, matitigas po ulo mga pasaway. Then the solution will probably be, how do we make faculty accept the change? Yun yung madalas nating iniisip eh, no? Pero what if faculty resistance is not the problem. What if the faculty are seeing something the administration cannot see? Then perhaps the question changes, ano? Hindi na, how do we overcome resistance? Mapapalitan na yun na, kung yung magiging tanong na is, what is the resistance telling us? Yun na yung mangyayari. And that's the very kind of leadership na parang itinuturo no nila sa theory nila ano nila Heifetz, Linsky and Grasho yung sa adaptive leadership. That some challenges cannot be solved simply by applying existing technical expertise. Kasi yung mga taong involved must change also the assumption, the values, the roles, mag-adapt sila dun sa ano, yung relationship and mag-adapt sila. Resistance kasi may sometimes be the information, no? Kumbaga, sometimes resistance are data eh, rather than obstruction. So, we have to ask leaders, tayo sa sarili natin, ano? What if leaders deliberately listen to resistance before deciding what should change? No? Para kasi magkaroon ka ng data, no? Sometimes resistance is not obstruction. Sometimes resistance is data. Sometimes the person who keeps saying no is actually the person telling you something nobody else wants to hear. Diba? So, papasok ngayon dito yung pinakaayaw na tao sa meeting. Hindi yung ano yung makuda na makuda, o hindi yung tao na laging nagdududa, yung skeptic. Yung taong laging tanong ng tanong sa meeting. Nagtatanong, paano natin nalaman yan? Paano natin nalaman na ito'y kailangan ng estudyante? Paano natin nalaman na effective yung policy na yan? Paano natin nalaman na tama ang strategy plan natin? Paano nalaman na hindi lang tayo na biktima ng sarili nating assumptions? Kasi minsan ang problema ng leadership ay hindi naman kakulangan ng information eh. Yung sobra sa confidence, that's the problem. Kaya dapat alalahan natin sinabi ni Socrates, I know that I know nothing. At baka ito yung pinakamahalaga na leadership competency in the age of AI. Hindi confidence, hindi certainty, but humility. Humility to accept that you don't know. Na hindi ka palaging tama. Na pwede mong sabihin mo din na posible ring mali ako. No? That is not weakness, that is discipline. And this is where conflict becomes useful. Because conflict can expose what consensus hides. 'Di ba? Kapag lahat sumasang-ayon, hindi ibig sabihin na tama tayo. Kung hindi, baka wala lang kasing gusto talaga magsalita. You remember that, ano? Yung conflict can expose what consensus hides. So, papasok din dito yung isang importanteng concept sa contemporary leadership, yung psychological safety. Bakit? Ah, sabi ng isang professor of organizational learning at at saan ba? Sa Harvard Business School, si Amy Edmondson, psychological safety. People need to ask the questions, raise concerns, admit mistakes, and disagree without fear of interpersonal punishment. Kasi psychological safety is not the same as comfort. Yes, we know that learning may require discomfort. An organization can become safe to speak, but unsafe to challenge power. So you're not just merely have the permission to speak, but having the confidence that speaking can actually matter. Does your dissent actually matter? Kailangan linawin natin ito eh, no? Psychological safety does not mean making everybody comfortable. Hindi ibig sabihin, let's be nice to each other. It means you can tell me something I don't want to hear. You can challenge my assumption. You can tell me that policy is not that this policy is not working. You can tell the president is wrong. You can say, I don't think this is going to work. And you are not automatically labeled as disloyal. Kasi daw, an institution that punishes disagreement eventually produces agreement but not necessarily arriving at the truth. Kaya ang dapat na tanong ng leader ay, how do I make them agree with me? No, I don't persuade them. Maybe the better question is, have I created an environment where they can honestly disagree with me? That's the better question. So, kapag nagne-negotiate tayo, madalas, positions ang pinag-uusapan. I want this, I don't want that. But underneath positions are interests. May hidden motive, ano? Ah, sabi ni Roger Fisher and William Ury in their classic 1981 book, Getting to Yes, there's a concept of principled negotiation. It's a collaborative strategy. Anong kinako nito? The core principle is that you separate people from the problem. Huwag mong personalin sila. Okay? And second, focus on the interest rather than positions. Third, you generate options for mutual gain. And the last one is you use objective criteria. Kasi for example, sa ano na lang, yung focus on interest, ano, rather than positions. Pag sinabi ng faculty mo, we don't want this new policy. Anong sasabihin ng admin? Ay hindi, we need this policy. Pag tiningnan mo yung positions ninyo, deadlock yan. Gusto mo, ayaw nila, ala na. But shift the question. Ask. Know their interest, ha? Ayaw nyo to. Why don't you want it? The faculty now, nakakasabihin nila, kasi kami ang interest namin is on the academic autonomy namin. Yung admin naman sabihin, kasi kami ang admin ang tinitingnan lang namin is accountability. So magkaiba kayo kaagad. Nakita mo kaagad na hindi lang pala yes or no, but ayaw nila to, but kumbaga nakita niyo kung yung reason na hindi lang yes or no. Nakita niyo na yung anong interest at stake na sa kanila pala is academic autonomy. Ang admin naman is more accountability. The problem becomes different now. Hindi na faculty versus admin. It becomes how do we create accountability without destroying academic autonomy? That's an innovative question, ano? That is negotiation. Sometimes the most important question is not what do you want, but what happens if we don't agree? Kasi pupunta ka na ngayon dun sa next na inintroduce nila Fisher and Ury, which is yung BATNA, which stands for the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. It's your backup plan or plan B if talks fail and no deal is reached. Yun yung inintroduce ni Roger Fisher and William Ury once na hindi na talaga nagkasundo. In reality kasi, no, tingnan mo, the person who can walk away in the negotiating table has the power in that negotiation. That's the truth. Because negotiation is never purely about goodwill. There's always power involved. And good leadership does not pretend power does not exist. It makes power visible. Tama si Spider-Man. Napanood niyo na ba, no? Spider-Man, sabi niya, with great power comes great responsibility. See? So, now we arrive, ayan na, now we arrive at the favorite words of leadership literature. Collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Di ba? But teamwork makes the dream work. Shared governance, stakeholder engagement, participatory management. Pero minsan gusto kong magtanong collaboration ba talaga? No? Kasi mamaya sophisticated compliance lang yung ginagawa natin. Ano? Ang ibig sabihin ng participation kumbaga puwede kayong magsalita pero hindi ibig sabihin, puwede niyong baguhin yung desisyon. There's a huge difference there. Sabi ni Sherry Arnstein's Ladder of Participation, though it's 1969 ano, but participation daw exists in degrees from tokenism towards actual citizen power. There's this distinction between having a voice and having an influence. You just read that ano. Uh, what if some institutional participation that we have in our institutions is designed less to share power, the actual power with us. I mean, the system create an appearance of shared power rather than actual sharing of power. No? Parang ano no, kaya dapat natin itanong if we are leaders in our institutions, did we merely give them voice or did we give them influence? Because voice without influence can become theater. You invite people, you let them talk, no? You take minutes, you thank them for their invaluable insights. Thank you very much. Then you do exactly what you had already decided to do. Wala. Hindi rin nag-matter yung sinabi nila. Hindi rin sila nakasama sa decision making. Parang pinag-attendance mo lang sila. Sayang lang sila ng laway. That is not necessarily collaboration. That may simply be participation without power. And this is where educational leadership becomes ethically difficult. Ano? Sometimes leaders genuinely want participation, but the institutional structures that we have make genuine participation difficult. Kasi the budget is already decided, the deadline is already fixed, the policy is already approved, the decision has already been made. Eh, ano pang gagawin mo ngayon? So perhaps the honest thing to do is not to pretend we are deciding here together, but perhaps the honest thing to do is to let them know that the decision is already constrained, but within these constraints, here is what you can do still to influence it. 'Di ba that's more honest and honesty is part of trust. So, yun yung ano, eh, yun yung mahirap kasi ano, ah, eto ang ganda nitong ano, our team is like a puzzle, all the pieces are there but none of them fit. Kasi alam nyo, there's this concept when we collaborate, we are looking for consensus. Collaboration is not consensus. Collaboration does not mean everybody agrees. In fact, sometimes the best collaboration is not agreement, but better disagreement. Because consensus can sometimes be premature. If everyone agrees too quickly, then perhaps the problem was never examined deeply enough. Collaboration should allow us to say we disagree on the interpretation, but we agree that we have a shared problem, and that is enough to begin. And this is especially important in universities because universities are naturally fragmented. Different disciplines, different professions, different generations, different values, different forms of knowledge. Yung nurse, hindi niya na, a nurse does not see a hospital the same way an accountant does, a middle faculty member. Hindi pareho ng pag-iisip tungkol sa student. Ang presidente dun sa hindi the same with a student leader kung paano silang tumingin sa bagay-bagay. So, the goal is not to erase these differences. The goal is to make the differences useful. Merong sinasabi sila Ansel and Gash about collaborative governance, ano? That the collaboration involves stakeholders engaging in a structured process around shared problems where the parties are interdependent. Kaya nga pwedeng natin sabihin that perhaps collaboration begins precisely when no single actor can solve the problem alone. Eh, ito pa isa, collaboration is so much fun, sabi. Bakit? Balikan natin si Amy Edmondson from the Harvard Business School. Ang sabi niya, there's this concept of what she calls teaming. Team. We are a team. Teamwork. Pero ginawa niyang verb eh. Teaming. Kasi ang ibig sabihin ng teaming, Teaming, teamwork on the fly. Paano teamwork on the fly? It's an ongoing, active process of collaborating with fluid, changing groups of people to solve urgent or new problems rather than working within a fixed, permanent team. Ang ginamit niya, verb, not noun. Teaming treats collaboration as an action, an action you do rather than a static structure you belong to. So, pag tingin mo doon, leadership now moves away from simply maintaining stable teams towards creating conditions for learning while the problem is still changing. Kaya, magandang tingnan speculatively, ano? What if the most important capacity of an organization is not teamwork, yung permanent team, ano? But the ability to form and reform relationships around emerging problems. You see? You notice the difference, ano? A team assumes we already know who we are. But teaming assumes we have to figure out we have to figure this out together. That is very appropriate for for educational change. Lalo na ngayon, DepEd, CHED, laging nagbabago-bago na, no? This is very true in a devukad world. We live in a devukad world, disruptive, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, diverse. Sa iba nga, hindi nga devukad tawag niya, ang tawag nila bunny. Brittle, anxious, nonlinear, incomprehensible. Yung iba naman, tuna, turbulent, nagugutom na siguro ako. Turbulent, uncertain, novel, ambiguous. Yung iba naman rapid, unpredictable, paradoxical, tangled. Because when a university changes, nobody has the complete answer. We're all learning while moving. The president doesn't know everything. The faculty doesn't know everything. The students, even the consultant, they don't know everything. That is not a problem. That is the condition of contemporary organizational learning. No? Kasi sa mga organizations, minsan may mga ano no, parang manghihingi ka na lang ng pasensya, "Sir, ma'am, sorry po. Ito lang talaga ako eh." No? Eh, yung iba mong kasama magagalit sa'yo. Bakit sasabihin nila, "Oh, ba't kasalanan mo yan? Ba't nagkaganyan yan? Anong gusto mong sabihin? Ako lang masama dito, ikaw lahat mabuti, no?" Eh, siyempre ako naman di ako papayag. Sige ka ako, ikaw na yung mali. Ako na yung tama. Mataas din pala yung pride ano? Pagka ganyan yung mga ano, mga mga kasama mo sa team, sa collaboration, pinagpe-pray mo na lang talaga, eh. Pinagpe-pray na sana kunin na sila ni Lord. Hindi po biro na, na pinagpe-pray 'no, na sana maging okey pa rin yung team ano. Kasi there's this concept in Filipino philosophy, pilosopiyang Pilipino, the concept of kapwa. Kasi kung titingnan natin 'no, hindi ikaw laban sa akin, hindi admin laban sa faculty, hindi student versus management. Kapwa, it's a shared self, shared humanity. Kapag may conflict, hindi agad kalaban ang tinitingnan. Ang tinitingnan natin yung relationship ang tinitingnan. Kapwa, the other is not simply an external stakeholder, but a fellow self. Someone with whom one's existence is relational. It's kind of frustrating that we follow always Western concepts in leadership, when in fact, we have our own indigenous worldview. No? Kaya nga indigenous yung tawag ni Kidlat Tahimik dito, the national artist. Ano? Genius tayo eh. No? Yung worldview natin is also part of our genius. The Western language reduces people to stakeholders whose interests must be managed. But for us, we treat people as part of a collective human continuity. Hindi ibang tao, but one of us. Pakikipagkapwa. Kaya nga, pag nakikipagkapwa tayo, dapat may kagandahang loob. Di ba? So, what happens to conflict when the person across the negotiating table is not the opposition, but part of the community we are both becoming. That changes the question. Instead of who is the problem, we ask what happened to the relationship. Instead of sino ba dapat manalo? Angaka natin is what happens to community if one side wins completely? 'Di ba pare-pareho tayo yun, magiging win-win din yun kung yung kapwa self yung pinairal natin dito 'no. The conflict now becomes something deeper than a management problem. It becomes a question of how we remain a community while disagreeing. Also another concept na meron tayo, bayanihan. Hindi lang pala 'to pagbubuhat ng bahay ano, it can also suggest our collective capacity. People contributing different abilities towards something that cannot easily be accomplished alone. So, bayanihan is a collective action. It's a mutual assistance, we to one another. But again, we should not romanticize it, no? Collective work can still hide unequal burdens. Some people repeatedly carry more than others, no? Kaya ang genuine bayanihan may require not only sharing the work, but sharing the power also to determine what work is worth carrying. Actually connected siya sa distributed leadership ano, but I will not talk about that. Kasi kung sino ang may kakayanan sa problema, siya muna ang manguna because sometimes the person with the best answer is not the person with the highest position. Sometimes the student knows something the dean doesn't know. Sometimes the faculty member knows something the president doesn't know. Sometimes the maintenance worker knows something the engineer doesn't know. Sometimes the person who has been in the institution for 30 long years, may nakikita siya that something a newly appointed administrator cannot yet see. So the point here, title is not the same as knowledge and position is not the same as wisdom. Nakita niyo yung ano, no? So, even in the Caldereras, meron tinatawag na tongtongan or ano 'to, parang collective wisdom, parang sinasabi dito, hindi monopolyo ang titulo ng karunungan. And perhaps this is one of the most important questions for educational leadership na ngayon, ano? What if universities listen more like communities and talk less like bureaucracies? Because bureaucracy asks who has the authority. A learning community asks who knows something that we need to hear. Those are not the same question. Kaya nga, siguro, ang trabaho ng educational leader ay hindi gumawa ng school na walang conflict. Dahil imposible yun, ano? Baka hindi rin desirable. Siguro ang trabaho ng educational leader ay gumawa ng spaces kung saan puwedeng mag-disagree ang mga tao ng hindi nagkakawatak-watak. Puwedeng makipag-negotiate ng walang nananamantala, puwedeng mag-collaborate ng walang naitsapuwera. And perhaps that gives us a different definition of leadership. The leader is not necessarily the person who has the answer, but the leader may be the person who can hold the question long enough for the organization to think. Not to eliminate difference, but the intelligent management of difference. And I'd like to end with this quote from George Patton. If everybody's thinking the same, then maybe nobody's thinking. Ang tunay na leadership, hindi pala paano ko sila na mapapasunod. Maybe it's paano kami mananatiling komunidad kahit hindi kami nagkakasundo. Because the strong university or school is not the university or school where everybody thinks the same. The strong university is a university where people can think differently and still choose to remain together. Thank you very much for listening. Always remember that learning happens anytime, anywhere. Thank you very much for watching Learn with Eman. Have a safe night. Bye bye, people.